Hello everybody, Brutal Bunny here, coming at you again with another Destiny video. This time we will be talking about Jaren Ward, Dredgen Yor, and Shin Malphur. In Destiny, change is a pretty strong theme that we see a lot, reoccurring in many stories such as Osiris, Thorn, Dredgen Yor, the Traveler, and even Eris. A quote from VatiVidia's Prepare to Die trailer really explains the situation, I believe, very well in this case with this. How can the gods be so cruel to stand idly by as the powerless have everything taken from them? Maybe if you give them something, then they'll give you something in return. Surely there's a reward for faithfully serving the gods of this land. Or you'll be cast aside, to fade from memory. A fool who dared to believe in something greater, without knowing that your final acts could have changed fate. This is one of my all-time videos. It's pretty inspirational and heartbreaking at the same time. And yeah, you can go check it out. But either way, it goes great with the whole aspect of change and everything. Pretty much all spans into Destiny. But we're here to talk about Dredgen Yor and Shin Malphur, not VatiVidia. So, without further ado, let's go into it. So, Jaren Ward first took in Shin Malphur as a small child and trained him with the powers of a guardian. Shin Malphur lived far away from pretty much everybody. He lived in a small village, and Jaren Ward decided to take him in. Here's a quote from the Grimoire card, Ghost Fragment, Last Word 2. As we waited for Magistrate Loken to arrive and make an official greeting, my patience got the best of me. I shook free from my father's heavy hand and made a short sprint across the court, stopping a few paces from where this new curiosity stood. A man unlike any other. I stared up at him, and he lowered his attention to me, his eyes hidden behind the thick tinted visor of his headgear. My sight quickly fell to his sidearm. I was transfixed by it. I imagined all the places that the weapon had been, all the wonders it had seen, all the horrors it endured. My imagination darted from one heroic act to the next. This shows how much Shin Malphur idolized Dredgen Yor, even from a young age. So, Jaren Ward decides to train Shin Malphur to become one of the best guardians the city would ever know. They go on many journeys and had some fun with other places, of course. But then they meet Dredgen Yor, and this man was a beacon. Here's a quote from Ghost Fragment Thorn. The nobleman stood, and the people looked to him, for he was a beacon, hope given before him, yet still only a man. And within that truth there was a great promise. If one man could stand against the night, then too could anyone. Everyone. In his strong hand the man held a rose, and his aura burned bright. So, that really shows how much people looked to Dredgen Yor, and he was one of the best guardians the city had ever known, and that was shown by his strength and his skill as a guardian. But after experimenting with hive magics and many things related to the hive and their dark magic, he was corrupted, like many other guardians, such as Osiris and Toland, especially, even Eris again. They were corrupted by the darkness, which had taken so many before them. This was a serious issue. But he pressed on and kept going through many of the adversity he faced as a corrupted individual. On his last day, he sat and watched the sun fall. His thoughts, pure of mind, if not body, held to a fleeting hope, though they would suffer for the man he would become, that people would remember him for the man he had been. This was anything from the truth. People disgrace what he did and the man he was, even if he was a great guardian before. And so the noble man hid himself beneath a darkness no flesh could touch, and gave up his mortal self to claim a new birthright. Whether this was his choice or destiny is a truth only known to fate. In the cool evening air, as dust was devoured by night, the noble man ceased to exist. In his place another stood. After this, he was no longer Dredgen Yor. He was a monster. He wasn't a person. He wasn't a guardian. He was a monster. We all woke that night closer to morning than the previous day. This is Jaren Ward and Shin Malphur, along with some other guardians that are remaining unnamed. A crack of gunfire spit through the wood, then more, but far off, but near enough to pump the blood. A familiar ring. Last word. Jaren's sidearm, his best friend. Then another single shot, an unmistakable echo calling through the night. Hushed. Cutting. We crouched low and quiet, listening, hoping. Jaren was gone. Off on his own. Maybe we were closer than we'd allowed ourselves to be. Too close. He'd gone to face death alone. I couldn't admit it, not at the time, but he thought he was protecting us. Fear of death is what lets us live. Take that away and humanity is a lot harder to hold on to. Someone who would die for something has nothing to fear. Death is only a stepping stone to his goal. This is yet another quote from Fatty Videos. Dark Souls to prepare to cry trailer. That would definitely watch it. So, but anyways, that's not what we're talking about today. This, again, explains Jaren Ward's situation. He wasn't afraid of being killed. He thought he was protecting them. He believed he was protecting them. But he didn't know it yet. It's not a matter of life or death. It's what breaks first, your will or the barriers in your way. And what do you expect? This is another quote from Fatty Videos' Dark Souls Prepare to Cry trailer. And yes, so Dredgen Yor was never an evil man. He, even in his last thought, he considered others by hoping that he would be remembered as a great guardian, and by hiding in the darkness so no man could find him. He's sacrificing himself for the well-being of the city. It's what all strong guardians should do. Never let your will break, guardians. If anything, let your barriers overcome you. Have a good day.
Zone C lost. Enemy captured Zone C.